Oh, hi. Welcome to Dogman Teepee Hunting. And if you're listening to this, it'll be on the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. That's quite a mouthful, I do know, but you can catch me on that. I've got an interview with a very special chap indeed, Mr. Gordon Dodds. Now, he runs Xanue UK Forum. Well, he administrates it. Mostly, but he kind of runs it, to be honest. He's the top knob as far as I'm concerned. And he's kindly agreed to come on and to chat about Zanue. Now, when I first saw this page, I was quite confused, okay, because I know about Sasquatch, I know about Bigfoot. There's an awful lot of information and misinformation regarding Bigfoot and with Sasquatch, and it's hard to pick apart the truth from the mistruth until I found this Zanue page, and it gave me a whole different perspective. So I'd like to bring him on and discuss with all of you about the Zanue. Okay, here we go. Hello, Gordon.
Hi there. How are you doing?
All right. Thank you for coming on, Gordon. I appreciate it, mate.
It's okay.
Yep. Right. Yeah, you run the Facebook page Xanue UK Forum. Can you tell us a little bit about that page? Just but basically, I mean, I guess really we're going to have to like let me reword it. Zanue. What is Zanue?
The Zanue are a paranormal being that's been on Earth for a long time. They've been hidden from humans. They have not really needed to interact with humans. They are here to look after us. They were sent here specifically to look after us and look after the planet. They've really got no interest in what we do, how we get on with things. What they're concerned about, strange enough, is very similar to, you can almost look at the Roswell incident as well. Aliens are concerned about the way we've developed nuclear weapons, and we have the capability of blowing ourselves to bits, right, which would destroy the planet. And the Xanue, looking after the planet, that's their job, look after us, looking after the planet, are obviously equally concerned about blowing ourselves to bits. And in the normal form, they're invisible, but they can shape shift into virtually anything. So that's something else. That's another discussion. But the most common form they use is as a Bigfoot. So people talk about Bigfoot. Oh, I've seen Bigfoot occasionally. I've seen it, but there's some very weird reports of Bigfoot, and I just concentrate on a few. For example, there's hunters who said, I've been in the woods in America with my gun, seen a Bigfoot 30 yards away, gone to shoot it, and it's just evaporated into thin air. Okay. There are several stories like that. It's not just one guy. There's several stories like that of hunters actually doing that. And all they do is when they see something is pointing a weapon at them, they just disappear into their other dimension. Yeah. A bullet wouldn't kill them anyway. A bullet would go through them, so it wouldn't kill them anyway. And a similar story about these guys tracking Bigfoot tracks, which a lot of people have seen. They track them into the middle of a snowfield. And suddenly the tracks stop and there's nothing around. The tracks stop and you think, where the hell has it gone? It's like it's just disappeared in thin air, which in fact is what it's done. So that's what the Xanue are. But they're here to look after us. And they're very rarely seen. You cannot see one unless it wants you to see it. So anybody who's seen, well, they have to change from their natural shape into something we can see. And that takes energy. It's got a conscious decision to change into something we can see, and that takes energy.
Where did they get the energy from? Do they get it from us? Because if they want us to see them, you have to have us to change.
They feed from the energy from the sun. the sun's rays. If you think about it, the sun actually, we live off the sun, right? The sun grows the grass feeds the cows, we eat the cows. So we live off the sun, effectively, yeah? They just cut out the middleman, right? They cut out the middleman. They just live off the sun directly. Although it's directly, they get it from the trees as much as anything. The tree receives the sun. The tree produces various nutrients like, nitrogen and other sort of chemicals and stuff that the Xanue need. So the Xanue morph into a tree during the day and feed off all these chemicals and stuff that the roots are actually producing for them. So they sit in the tree and absorb all this energy and the sun's rays from the leaves during the day.
Ah, right. Okay.
And
So
if somebody walks past who think that's a nice person we want to connect with, one of them would say, right, I'll go down and I'll show them I'm here. And they'll show them in a quick shadow across or a fully formed Sasquatch or whatever. That's what they do. And a person will see them, and like you, the first thing they'll do is crap themselves and bloody hell and run away. This is the problem that they've got, right? Not the reputation, but anybody 5-6 foot tall, human, skinny, 90 kilograms, see something that's 9-10 foot tall, weighs like 300 kilogram. The first thing I'm going to do is run away. So that's a slight problem the Xanue have. Okay, but in 1967, 20th October 1967, so they'd realised Roswell. They've seen the problem with the nuclear weapons. Shortly after the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1963, the Xanue thought, God, I've got to do something about it. I'm here to protect the planet, look after the planet, look after humans. They're ready to blow themselves to bits. I've got to do something about it. So the leaders all met. They have a council of 12. And can I just say, when you start saying the Sasquatch, people just think there's dumb mountain ape. But the Xanue are highly intelligent, very powerful alien beings. Being to morph into dumb mountain ape like a Sasquatch is easy for them. They morph into anything. Black panthers is another common form. Owls, birds, whatever. They can do anything. But they adopted the form of a Sasquatch because maybe they thought that'd be a friendly form and not an unfriendly form. But it does scare some people. And other people stop and watch, and then they actually get communication with them. Anyway, so they decided to let's make a case here. Let's get someone to walk out, be filmed, right? Deliberately be filmed, and let them know we are here and we are watching them and we are looking after the planet. That's what they did. So they chose a volunteer, Enrith. Enrith was a lady, a female Sasquatch who was chosen, Enrith. She was volunteered to do it, and she was the one who walked out. And it's right what they said on the film when they analysed it. She had a bad leg at the time. She had a hernia in the leg, and that's why the muscle flexes on one of the legs, which Jeff...
We're talking about the Patterson film.
The Patterson film.
Yeah.
And Jeff Meldrum pointed out when he was looking at it, he says, look, that bulging you see every now and then is something like a hernia in the leg muscle. And that's what she had, in fact, at the time. But she's obviously better now. And, of course, the famous one that she does the look back, the people say they're looking back to see if they're going to shoot her or whatever. She's not. She's looking back to make sure they're following. There's no point in stepping up if the people are running away. So she steps out and walks, and then she turns around and makes sure they're following. And she keeps walking at the same pace. She never runs. It's a bad leg, but she never runs. She just keeps walking. But the guy trips up. He grabs the camera. He puts it on a log. He's still shaking, and he gets 30 seconds of video, and that's about it.
Do you know? I that was a very unusual gait. When that Patty film, when it was walking along, Patson Gillen film, when you saw that Bigfoot walking along, it did have a very odd gait to it. Now, you saying that, it's made me think, definitely. Yeah,
I would have to say, I think that gait can be reproduced, right? But what can't be reproduced is the proportions. Her arms, her legs, bottom half of her leg, in relation to her body, and the shoulders are like what you I mean, what we call a bloody, prop forward, aren't they? Her shoulders are like this. 4
Yeah.
foot wide. They're 9 foot high, 4 foot shoulders. But she's females tend to be 7'6", maybe 8 foot. Females, males got maybe 10, 11, 12 foot maybe. Females are short. Yeah.
That brings me on. Do you bringing up about the Patterson Gimlin film? One thing that's intrigued me is, so these Zanue, they can be filmed on camera. They can be photographed.
They can, but they decide to do that. The only time I believe, and I'm not 100% certain on this. I did get told this when I was in America with the Xanue in Oregon 7 years ago. They can breed, and they can either breed in a paranormal form, or they can breed in the Sasquatch form. Right now, I believe, and so I'm not 100% sure, but I believe if they breed in the paranormal form, when the females are pregnant, right, they can't switch dimensions, right? They can't switch dimensions, or they can't disappear or as quickly or whatever as they do normally. So anybody who's managed to catch one moving away, which the Xanue probably didn't want to see or didn't want to connect, the chances are they might have caught a pregnant female who's just wandering through the woods trying to get away or something. That's how I understand it. But generally, you won't see one unless one wants you to see it. People are walking through the woods, and one will step out and turn around and look at them, and then the people turn and run away. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So just to get it right, in a paranormal form, if they are ethereal in a paranormal form without physical form, and they have a child, they have a kid, a cub. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but that mother would have to adopt a physical form.
No. If they mate in a paranormal form, then the mother, pregnant in paranormal form, can move in a paranormal form and stay in a paranormal form. But if
she's in the paranormal form already, though, isn't she?
Well, she stays that form till the baby's born.
Right, got you. And the baby will be paranormal as well.
The baby will have the same powers. It'll be paranormal, and it can turn to solid, which I've seen. Okay. I've seen the baby, a youngster in paranormal form, appear in a shimmering image form, like a mirage, get more solid and suddenly become black, and then become 3-dimensional and come and stare me right in the face from about 6 inches away.
Okay. Yeah. Have you, Gordon, of all the when I've been on looked at different photographs and videos which have been taken of Sasquatch, do you, in your experience, do you look at those yourself and go, nope, or has there been particular, or is it only the Patterson Gimlin film that you can actually say, yep, that was definitely a Zanue? Or have you seen them?
No,
have they been caught on film? Have they been caught on film, Gordon?
Yeah, Paul Freeman got some in about 91 or 92 of a female walking at the bottom of a ravine, and the way she does the same as like Patty does. She almost sort of turns and looks back to see if he's there, but she's just checking to see if he is still there. And I would think that's probably a pregnant female, but
Okay. Right.
But other ones, people send me pictures and videos and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And some I say, yeah, that's good. That's a good picture. But that's some of my members in my group send me pictures of that, but they're actually already in my group and approved by the Xanue. That's why I said I'm just an administrator, because everybody in my group, the Xanue, look at and check overnight and tell me, I say, I visited them, they're fine, right? There's someone has actually just applied to join. I was going to get Ice to go and see them, and it turns out she's a pagan, right?
Okay.
So they won't let her join the group. You have to be a Christian. She's a pagan. Or if you're someone you're not sure, they will let you join the group to convince you that they are Christians. But someone who's definitely a pagan or an atheist, they won't let them join the group. I have another lady in the group for years. She's been in the group, and or she was in the group years ago, and I kept telling her where to go, what to say, how to do it, what to say, and she's getting nothing and nothing. I just couldn't understand what it is. And I said, and I just suddenly realized, I said, "Oh, you're a Christian, aren't you?" She says, "No, I'm an atheist."
Yeah, I'm CV. Yeah, Church of England.
Yeah, but she says she was an atheist. I said, "Well, that's why they're not connecting with you." You have to be a Christian. You have to be a good person with a kind heart and a warm mind, and you have to also be a Christian.
Does it matter if they're baptized or not? Because I'm baptized, but does it matter if they're baptized?
No, that's just bollocks. That's just something we've made up, isn't it?
Okay.
I mean, it's just something we've made up, isn't it? Huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing where we get onto grey area. That's the thing where we get onto a little bit of grey area, from the point of view of some people view, like I did years ago when I was younger, religion as being a belief. Yeah, a belief without any substantiating form. I believe in God, but I haven't seen him. I believe that there was Jesus Christ who died for us, but I haven't seen him. I talk very often to the Holy Spirit, but I haven't seen him. So how do I know that my faith is viable to me, being that I'm believing in something that really my logical mind is saying, well, you haven't really seen him, so why? It's the same as in a way. Do you find a correlation with that and with Zanue, that the belief in Zanue? What's the difference? What is the difference? We've got Jesus, we've got religion, we've got God, we believe in it, and sometimes we feel that belief. I feel that belief. Do you feel the same with Zanue?
The Xanue tell us lots of things, and they've told us lots of true things and lots of things that are going to happen. They've done wonderful things. They healed me of COVID when I nearly died from it. They've healed other people in our group of various things. We just had another young lady join. She had a bad back, and she felt herself being lifted up and shaken in bed one night. But the next morning, her back felt a bit better, and within a week, her back was perfectly normal again. So they can help you. So the Xanue said, look, we are telling you that there is only one God. Jesus was the Son of God, and we are sent here to earth by God to look after the planet and to look after humans. So that goes back to my 1967, the Enrith case, that Patty case, sorry, that they've stepped up to say, look, you're making a mess of our planet. I mean, it was interesting. We said, we had a discussion with me and Paul. Paul is my Paul Glover is my sort of associate too, or admin for this group, and Paul is the second one. And we're out one night and we're talking about, and we kept saying about, it's nice that you look after our planet, nice whatever. And I think Eisen got irritated, and he sort of said to Paul, Paul's one who gets the best mind speaking that. He said, look, whose planet is it? We were here millions of years ago before humans even, were developed. We were here millions of years ago. Whose planet is it? Yeah. So it's their planet, and we're ruining their planet, and that's what they don't like.
Okay.
But why? He also said, why would we lie? I believe you believe when I told you that, tomorrow your car's going to break down, so get it, leave it in the garage or something or whatever. They tell us things that have turned out to be correct and true in the future. Yeah. He says, why would we lie to you? And I'm telling you, God, there's only one God, there's only one Jesus, and we're Christian, we follow them. They don't actually, I say they're Christians, they're not actually Christians. They're not actually, we are Christians, and we follow the teachings of Christ, yeah? They're not Christians, they follow God, and they've followed God since the year dot, right?
The same God so they follow a creator God. Am I right?
One creator, there's only one God. All these other religions are false, is what they say.
Right. Okay. But yeah. All right. But to other religions, this would be a false religion as well. So, we have to be, I understand what you're saying. We have to be mindful of the fact that, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it depends on what side of the fence you're on. I do believe that, yes, there is only one God. I'll tell you why, because there's too much in the way of correlation between religions. It's like the Younger Dryas that happened. That has come up in the Quran, that's come up in the Bible, that's come up in 2,000 years ago, this giant floods, and because it's been mentioned in so many manuscripts, old text manuscripts, I tend to believe that certain things like that have happened. I personally, it's a personal belief I have. It's like, I don't believe you have to go to church to pray. I can quite easily, with my head held high, pray in my padded room, which is basically my studio, my bedroom. My pedestal. I can basically pray in here as well, knowing that the Creator will listen to me.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because the Xanue actually believe. I mean, that's one thing that the Xanue group forum you will see. I never mention religion on it. Very rarely. Very rarely, but I never talk about you have to do this. I say at the beginning you have to be, you know, Christian or a nice person, but after that I don't talk about religion at all in the group, right? But the Xanue, they, as I said, they've been would follow God forever, since the year dot, and they have said that even Christianity, the religion Christianity, has been hijacked, right, by extremists. So my group members, when they ask about that, I say, look, the Xanue just want you to be Christians, or I say Christians because that's all they would understand from 2,000 years ago, right? They expect to be Christians, but they're happy for you to follow God, worship God, pray, do whatever you want in your way. They don't want or expect you to go to church. They say extremists have hijacked religion. I think that includes the Archbishop of Canterbury. Yeah.
Okay.
What you're doing is exactly what they would want people to do. They're quite happy with that. They don't expect you to charge off to Westminster Abbey every sort of second week or whatever. Yeah? No.
I get you. Okay. Right. Okay. Is that have they the Xanue, are they have they altered, do they interfere in our previous history? Have they interfered at strategic points? Have they sort of moved civilization along? Have they averted us from any disasters in the past, do you know of?
I understand that they've left us to our own devices, and their belief until recently has been that it's up to us to get ourselves out of the mess we put ourselves in. If you look at World War II, World War I, any issues with wars and weapons and whatever, weapons of mass destruction, whatever, they are perfectly capable of stopping any war before it starts. World War II, they could have just put a block on it straight away. With the powers they've got, particularly electrical power, they can disable any machine that needs electrical energy to actually power. Guns, shells, whatever, you know, they'd have to do something else, but they could stop guns and shells going. But now with the modern warfare, with jets, missiles, it's all conducted by electricity. It's all run by electrical power to get the things going, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
they could just stop power to any item, anything in the world at any time, even mass power production or whatever. They could just stop anything. But they don't do that. It's their job to try and persuade us to do it. But as I understand it, again, since 1967, Patson Gimlin, I think even more with Putin and whatever, they are keeping a track of the what they call the Red Square, which is Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. They're keeping track of them, and they're in their invisible form. They're in the meeting rooms of all the sort of committees for these four countries. Whenever they decide to do something, they're watching and seeing what they're saying, and they will get more involved, more directly involved. If Putin decide to use nuclear weapons, I got a feeling that they would involve with that and just stop them using them. That's what I think. But it hasn't happened yet, but we never know. But I think they've got permission to do that. I think they had permission, or the brief before was to just watch us. But I think they've got permission now to interfere if it's going to be a major worldwide catastrophe. I think they have. I think they've got permission to actually get involved. So we'll see what happens.
Would they allow, because they follow a Christian doctrine?
Mm-hmm.
Would they be happy if a bomb hit on a Muslim state, or are they against all war?
They're against all war. They would say, and this is their words, not mine, right? Okay. Muslims and their belief is just that they haven't been converted to Christianity and seen the truth yet. So why would you want to wipe out 200, 300, a billion people just because they haven't quite seen the light yet, if you like?
Okay.
It's not their fault. Because they've all been taught by their parents, their families for generations that this is Muslim and Allah is a religion. They don't think it is. But you can't kill people because they've been taught badly or wrongly, incorrectly by the precedent. Yeah.
Gordon, when were you first aware of the Zanue?
In the form that I know now was when I went to America 7 years ago and stayed in Oregon for a week with a guy, Matthew Johnson, who's the main guy they speak to in the world, if you like. But I've been involved with him. It's quite weird. The Xanue, the Enrith picture of her looking back was in the newspapers in 1967 when I was 15, right? Yeah. And we were at a meeting with me and Paul years ago, and they asked me why I did this. And I said to them, and they can see in the future, they can see the past, the future. I said, do you know the impact that picture had when I looked at that in 1967? Because I've always been interested in science, physics. It was also the world, nature, animals, and that. And when I saw Enrith walking across, it didn't fit anything. Didn't fit anything I knew about the nature, the animals. Didn't fit anything I knew about science, physics, universe, whatever. I just didn't know what the hell that was. And I said to them, did you know how that impacted upon me when I saw that in 1967? And they said yes. So they've been watching me since 1967.
That's a long time.
And when I look back on it, I think sometimes in my life, things have happened. Funny things have happened. I thought, God, that's odd. But I've never tied anything together. There was one thing. I was camping in the Lake District, hiking the Lake District once with my brother, and I had a backpack on. We went up, I think the Striding Edge or Swirl Edge, one of the very steep hills that lead up to Helvellyn. And I fell backwards. And I thought I was dying. I thought I'd gone. But I suddenly felt as I was pushed backwards again. Push forward, if you mean, sorry. Push forward back to where I've been standing. And that's when I was about 22, 23. And that was, I just felt, I must have managed to get me balance again, But that was them just keeping me on track.
Okay. Did you attribute that? Did you attribute that? What did you attribute that to at the time? Because you weren't aware of.
No, I just thought I'd managed to regain my balance. I managed to bend myself and get forward and grab a rock and keep myself up.
Was there any, because of the Zanue, they travel in ethereal form, they travel in a paranormal form. Do they get mistaken for ghosts? Did you mistake them when you were younger? Did you have paranormal activity happen which was them, but you mistook it for ghosts or something?
I did have in bed one night. I just felt there was one sort of rub my leg or shake my leg one night. Again, I was probably 20, 21. But at different circumstances then. I thought I just lost my father. He died in an accident. And I thought that was him. I mean, I've never actually asked. Never actually. It might have been my father, but it might have been the Xanue. I've never actually asked. But I'm saying there are things like occasional things like that which happen, which I didn't. I never strung anything together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it was.
I would like to think it
Can I
was your
just?
father. I would like to think it was your father.
I'd like so. Can I just? Can I just go and have a?
Of course, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Go.
Talking along.
Gordon, I wanted to broach one thing with you, and that is, what relationship, or do the Xanue have any relationship with aliens that people have witnessed or seen in the craft? Is there any correlation with the two?
Xanue are friendly with aliens. I think that's all I would say. They are aware of they are aware of them. They've probably contacted them and seen them in other planets and solar systems, shall we say. They've come across them before, and they're friends with them. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not related, nothing to do with them in that sense, in terms of work in the sense. There are some aliens. Paul Hellyer is a fantastic guy. Sadly, actually died, I think, a couple of years ago. If you listen to one of Paul Hellyer's statements that he's made, he says the American government has been in touch with aliens for, since Roswell, 60, 70 years, right? And there's 3 or 4 types of aliens. One of them is actually comes here to do mining for minerals, or started to do mining for minerals a long time ago, right? So where do you go? Well, you go where there are minerals that they need, so lithium and stuff like that. So, and they brought with them, because the aliens can't survive in our atmosphere, they brought with them a being that actually does the manual work. So they're the navies, if you like, the alien navies. And they're called the Tracon, Treyk, Tracon, right?
Lizard people.
No, they're not lizard. They actually look exactly like Bigfoot. They look like Sasquatch. If you Google Xanue, right? Google Xanue, they will say that's the Indian name for the Bigfoot cousin or relative that's slightly smaller, uglier, whatever. Yeah, but it's not related to the Bigfoot at all. The Tracon, or the beings that the aliens brought here to help them do the heavy work for digging into and get the minerals for the gold, lithium, whatever they want. Now they've done that only in certain places: North America, South America, and Australia. That's the only place you've got Tracon. Every other country in the world, virtually, you've got the Xanue, but the Tracon in America, North America, South America, and Australia. And the bad thing about the Tracon, the bad news about the Tracon, they do kill and eat people. Now, David Paulides, an ex-policeman from, I think, Los Angeles, he wrote a book called Missing 411.
Yeah. And
he lists all the people who disappeared in the American wilderness. Yeah. Now, strangely, there's two sides of it. The ones that disappeared, little boys lost in the woods, they come back. Most of them come back because the Xanue, the good guys, the Xanue, find them and take them back to their family, take them back to the tents and the caravans or whatever. Yeah. Have you read those stories? Right.
Yes, I have.
There's the other side of ones that just disappear altogether and never seen again. Right. And that's mostly, some will be lost to wolves, lions, bears, whatever. But some will be Tracon that have taken them and eaten them. Yeah. I can't remember the story. I can't remember what the name is in the 411 book. There's one story, and this is quite significant, where a young lad disappeared. He was wearing a blue sort of coat, I think, at the time. He disappears, and there's a big scream at that sort of time that other people in the woods heard when he disappeared. A horrendous scream they heard, and he disappeared. And there's another, a bit later on, only a few minutes later on, a couple did see somebody or something carrying something blue over their shoulder, right? And that's all that they said. Now, within 10 hours, 6 hours, whatever it was, the American military had a helicopter with I don't know if it was a special, special force, whatever, but they had really heavy armaments and gangs out looking for this boy who disappeared, right? Because the American forces, the American government do know about they think it's a Bigfoot. They think it's this, Sasquatch killing and eating people. It's not. It's a trachon. But they knew all about something in the woods that was taking people. And when they heard this boy had gone and the scream, and somebody'd seen, a couple had actually seen something carrying off what looked like something in a blue wrapper or blue jumper or blue coat, whatever. The military went after that and actually searched the woods for ages. And the boy disappeared, was never seen again. Now, he was probably a trachon taken and probably killed and eaten. Yeah. But there's another story. I say the other side of it. A boy disappeared for 4 days, 5 days, and he was found in the middle of a sandbar in a river, which is 4 foot deep, and he was only 3.5 foot tall, right? And he's bone dry. And when they waded through and got him back and said, how did you survive? And he says, oh, a bear looked after me, right? And this was in the winter time. He says, a bear looked after me. So it wouldn't be a bear. It would have been a Xanue. And the Xanue's looking after him, put him in the sandbar, and he's dark. The Xanue can control minds, and the Xanue, it directed the search crew to the sandbar to find him, right? So that's the other side of it. So that's the good and the bad, unfortunately. The trachon.
Yeah, it's strange with the 411. What I find strangest is when they often find the clothing and it's neatly piled up and folded up with the shoes and everything. I find that very odd. That was very odd part. Did the Xanue have any relationship with the military, or do they help the military in any way?
No. Not that I look. If talk about my experience, I say not in any way. No.
Did the military know of them?
The military are aware of that there is a being called the Sasquatch. They don't know about them in the form of the Xanue, as I understand, although there may be stories that they've seen them disappear and they're not reported publicly. One of the Sasquatch hunters or Sasquatch researchers will tell you there's one of the American military engineering divisions. I can't remember which one it is, which county it is, maybe Minnesota or something like that. In their field atlas of if you go out into the woods, prepare for meeting lions, tigers, whatever. But they also mention Sasquatch. It does say look out for Sasquatch. It's a large bipedal
right.
ape, and you might see it, but just don't disturb them. Just leave them alone, sort of thing. That's what it says in the American military handbook, right? So that's as far as I know, that's the only connection with them. But they don't work for them. I tell you, if you wanted where Matt lives in America, I think they're trying to. They know Matt's dealing with beings, and the FBI, I think, or maybe CIA, are flying over Matt's property in America and trying to see what he's doing to interact with these beings.
Are they really?
Yes. If you could have if the Xanue decide, right, we'll fight for good. We'll be on your side. We'll be on the side of right. And we'll fight for good. My God, you'd want them on your side. They'd win any war. You wouldn't even have a war. They'd kill the enemy or the enemy's equipment before you even started. Anybody would want the Xanue on their side. And that's why the agencies in America are trying to find out what Matt's doing.
Yeah. So obviously Matt is aware of the authorities, black helicopters or black cars and drones. I suppose he has, and all kinds of things.
All the time, yeah.
I
haven't got that yet.
Is he worried about that?
Not really. I mean, the Xanue look after him. To be honest, that's what's so silly about it. The way these government forces do these things, all secretive and all that lot. If one of them went up, knocked on Matt's door and said, please tell me about these beings you're dealing with, he'd bring him in, give him a cup of coffee and tell him the story. That's what he's got nothing to hide. He's got nothing to hide.
Right.
Yeah. But they're not doing that, just flying around in black helicopters and,
Okay,
Matt's written a book on it. He's written 2 books on it, and he's also done a 4-part video saying exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I saw one of his videos where he was by it looked like it was an encampment with a fire in the middle, and he was walking around talking to people.
Yeah, it was late at night.
That's the
Doc.
chap. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the chap. Yeah,
he has these
yeah,
camps
yeah.
every sort of 2 or 3 years. These camps on his property where they
Mm.
do that. You're not allowed to have fires at night when the Xanue are around because they think you're trying to trick them to light the area so you can take photographs. Yeah.
Right, got you.
When I
Okay.
stayed with them in America for 4 or 5 nights out in the woods with the Xanue, we weren't allowed to have a fire. We weren't allowed to have lights, fire. We weren't allowed to smoke. We weren't allowed to drink because they don't believe in all that. They're strong Christians, and that's not part of what they like about them. You know, you can do it in your own home and privacy or whatever. That's fine in moderation. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I
Yeah.
like drinking, as you see, but if I have too much to drink, right, they'll tell me. They'll tell me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're kind of like they'll look after you from that point of view. They'll say,
Yes.
wait a minute, you've had too much to drink.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So,
Have they do they are they able to advise you from the point of view of health matters? Do they say, look,
they can screen somebody. And again, I said to you earlier on about the woman who felt she was lifted in the bed, yeah, and she could feel this, and that's what they were doing, see what was wrong with her, and they found that she had I don't know, there's a disc thing loose in the back, and they shook it out, and she was okay within a week, yeah. One of the things that happened to me in America, I've got a bad foot which I've had for 50, 60 years. It's been manageable, not been an issue, but the last 20 years it's been really bad and really painful. And when I went to America, I said, Matt spoke out to them, said, look, can you see if we can heal Gordon? I said, okay. So I went to bed and I was lying down with the pillows up my face and started to nod off. It's 11 o'clock at night, pitch black, 5,000 feet up in the mountain, stars, beautiful stars in the sky, no clouds. It was red hot for a week we were there, so I slept under the stars, which is what they want us to do. They want us to sleep and live in their environment. And I was lying in bed, and then I heard lying in bed. Everybody else was in the beds. I lying in bed, and I heard footsteps either side of my bed. Big footsteps either side of my bed. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm lying there thinking, oof. But I remember Matt saying, Navy SEAL, nerves of steel. Okay, so I'm just lying there thinking, okay. And then I felt the blankets lift up, right? Something touched my feet, and I'm thinking, oh. And when it touched my sore foot, I must have jumped, right? They sent a wave of energy up my feet that came to my belly button, more or less, yeah? And then it stopped. And then they touched my bad foot again. I must have jumped again. And they then knocked me out. Yeah, so I jumped and went, oof, and then I went I just suddenly didn't know anything. Yeah. And I'm lying there and I'm thinking, well, where have they gone? What's happened? And I put my blanket down and had a look, and it was daylight. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning. From 11 o'clock at night, suddenly it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was you're waking up and you don't even know you've been asleep. It was absolutely the most weird feeling you get. So there's
okay. So you basically had missing time.
Yeah, a lot of members of my group will tell you that when they've been knocked out.
Does that strike you as being odd when people talk about missing time with aliens and alien craft? Does that strike you as a
no? I was just going to say it's quite natural. Obviously, it's quite unnatural, but it's quite common. I mean, it's quite common is the word, not natural. It's quite common. In the world we deal with, it's quite common.
Gordon, in the Bible, it talks about and people, a lot of podcasts and stuff have talked about Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Do you mind me calling them Bigfoot or Sasquatch? Is that something which do they get annoyed by that?
Yes, they hate the name Bigfoot.
Okay, all right, and I'll try not to use Bigfoot because Sasquatch, I always tend to say it wrong.
Sasquatch. Like a watch.
Sasquatch. That's a good way. No one's told me that before. Sasquatch. Yes, very good. Thank you. See, never too old to learn. Are you, Gordon? Never too old to learn.
Well, I was 72 last week, so no, I'm still learning.
No, not far behind you. I'm 50. I'll be 50. 58. In December. Yeah, but now, listen, Gordon. Right. If Iceland's there, All right, 58 December, and also with yourself. Okay, I only accept presents if they're wrapped. Okay.
All right, right. Yeah. It's
In the
very hard to wrap a twig. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't expect much more now. I guess not. No.
Okay.
But that would be lovely. That would. I'll tell you what. If I got a twig in the post wrapped up, I would be like, "What the hell?" Or even unwrapped. If it was like at the end of my bed, I'd be like, "What the hell, really?"
No, you'd find it. You'd find it in the middle of your breakfast table. Anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. All right, I'll look out for that. I will look out for that, and you'll be the first. Honestly, you'll be the first to know if I do. But we've spoken about that privately, and that's fine. One question I got is, where do you stand? Where do they stand from the point of view of everyone goes on about Nephilim? Are they the Nephilim? Would you consider them to be the Nephilim in the Bible?
No. I don't think they do. I think there are angels. There are other angels, but other beings on the planet. There are other beings that have been physical. I mean, if you look at the reports of beings that have been like 8-9 foot tall, kings in Syria and kings of it's not Samaria. What's the one that's 9,000-10,000 year old? That's got these tablets.
Sumerian.
Sumerian, yeah. So I mean, Sumerian, and even talking about, I think in America they've discovered graves of beings that are, what look like humans that are like 8-9 foot tall. Yeah. So that's not there's no solid bones or graves or anything for the Xanue. The Xanue beings disappear in paranormal form, and they say we all go back to God, just as we will do when we die. When humans die, the Xanue die. We all go back to God. So when you die, you'll go back to meet the Xanue.
Okay. How many? Is there a council? Is there a council of Xanue?
Yeah,
there is.
Sorry, can I just?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Take your time. Take your time.
Oh God. Oh.
Committee. How many members are there on the committee?
They have a council of 12 committee. Zorth is the chairman of the committee at the moment. Zorth, and he's one of the American people. The council of 12. There are 2 members of the council that allocate for every continent, right? But obviously the 7 continents, Antarctica obviously doesn't have any because it doesn't got any trees. It's the Xanues, are said, feed off the trees. So wherever any country where there are trees, you'll find Xanue everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So every continent's got 2. Iceland is one of the 2 for Europe, and there's another one whose name I don't know. I don't really deal with him. I know in my group I deal with Europe, but they've allowed me to deal with Australia and New Zealand because they don't have a person like me for Australia and New Zealand. In fact, they don't have anybody in any continent other than Europe, which is me and Paul. So the Australian one is the equivalent of Iceland is called Negru, and my daughter lives in Australia, so when I go to Australia, I do see Negru and talk to Negru when I'm out there and see his family and that. But there's 2 for every continent, so that's 12. Zorth is the chairman of the 12. The Patterson Gimlin one, that was made in 1967. That was Zorth was actually chairman then, so that's like 60 years ago now, coming up to 60 years nearly. And Zorth, I think Zorth's getting 200 years old now. So Zorth was still probably a new council leader, a new chairman, if you like, at the time. So I think he'd be one of the ones who's instrumental in actually getting the Xanue to interact with us a bit more.
Just a quick one, because we've got to wrap this up in a bit.
Yeah.
But Gordon, when they have Iceland's with you, okay? I get it. Now, when there's a committee meeting or a council meeting, is it regular? Is it yearly? And will he then disappear and you won't see him while he goes to the council?
They have them, I think, all the time. So, I mean, look, weekly or whatever. They just have them whenever they want to, and they have them from wherever.
Okay.
They don't have to be anywhere to have the meeting. They can be anywhere to have the meeting. They communicate telepathically, and there's like a world information channel goes around the earth, right? A telepathic world channel that goes around the earth, so they can speak to each other. They don't have to be next to each other. Iceland can speak to Zorth in America now. So Iceland and England, he can speak to Zorth in America on this international telepathic thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to go to the meeting. And another thing which I was told, which they said, and I've not, I can do so many things, it staggers me. So I've not even checked it, queried it, whatever. But they can be in two places at once. Would you believe?
Really?
That's what I heard. Oh, I can't remember who told me that now.
Okay. All right then.
So
wow.
Unless that means the physical side, the shimmering, whatever, in one place with the mind, and then the mind can go off to have a meeting with Zorth 8,000 miles away or something.
Yeah. And they can change form. They said so. Iceland could be a family member got a hamster.
Yeah.
Just say I'm not trivializing it. This is an honest question. Or you got a dog. Just say you got a dog. Could Iceland assume the shape of that dog, or take that dog's body over? What would it be like?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's quite often when I'm going to visit someone, ask them to visit someone if they've got a dog. They visited one of my family members who's got a dog, and the dog, as I said, can see him barking and shouting straight away. And I said, look, they've got a dog, and they say, okay, we'll just put him to sleep when we get there. Okay. So they arrive, they get there, and they put the dog to sleep. So
okay, I've got one last question. It's actually I'm asking a bit of advice. I'm a cryptid hunter. I primarily over the years have done because I had interactions with Dogman.
Yeah.
But from the point of view of Zanue, there's an awful lot of people out there who are trying to evidence Sasquatch, right?
Yeah.
What would be your advice to these people to try and interact or get film of them, or if they're trying to take cameras out or they're trying to interact with them? What would your best course of action be? Your advice to them be?
Do not take a camera or anything to try and take images of them. They'll just fry it up, right? Even Paul, my co-admin, went out and he decided to take some pictures of them shimmering or whatever, without asking them, without getting permission. Just assumed he could because he's a top dog in the group, like me, I suppose you'd say. And when he got back home, his camera was buggered. So do not try and do that. That's not what they're like. You don't find Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever you want to call it, or Xanue. If we can use the Xanue term, that'd be great. You do not find the Xanue find you. There are people who are being followed by Xanue. I've had someone else wants to join. I had a lady today who messaged me, says she was out the other day. She just had a feeling. She had a feeling that something was there, and she does get these feelings every now and then. She says, I had a feeling that something was there, and it was just very strong. And she says, and I feel that's directed me to your group, the Xanue UK forum. She's applied to join the forum because she says, I've never heard of you before. On Facebook, I was directed to this group, and I asked Iceland, and Iceland says, yes, that's us. We want her to join the group, want her experience. She's good, and she's the right person, got the right qualities, and she could be good in the future. We want her to join. So they've directed her to meet me, and I get people who want to join like that. They say, look, I just feel I should be in this group.
Gordon, when people join, what can they expect? First of all, when they try and join, what can they expect from the group? Is there anything to expect?
Well, yes, the Xanue check them out. I don't check them out. The Xanue check them out. Normally, Ison or maybe Samith, Zora, his kids will go and just go to that person's home, have a look and sound them out. They'll have a look at pictures, see what they've got. They'll maybe see what music. I mean, they'll just check out and find out what that person's like. You've got to be a kind person with a warm heart and open mind, and a Christian, of course. And they'll find that out by visiting that person. And
so they'll come to your house. That's what.
Yes.
Okay.
And some people, the next morning, I can say, yeah, they're fine. And I'll ask them to say, no, I didn't hear anything. Other people say, yeah, I heard footsteps on the landing. Everybody else was in bed, so I just waited, and the footsteps went away, so that's fine. The funniest one was a guy who he's in the group now. He said he was lying in bed, and he's one of these like I do. I pull the blankets right over my face, and I try and sleep, whatever. He said he heard breathing going, breathing. Sorry, he was snoring. They were going, and he felt that what it's like when someone's right next to you breathing.
Yeah.
And he felt that breathing on the blankets he was at. He could feel the breathing on the blanket, and he thought, should I pull the blanket down and look? He didn't have the guts to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't have the guts to do it. He just lay there and thought, oh my God, I'll just, because I told him Iceland was visiting. So he just lay there and think, oh my God. Then the breathing went away, and the footsteps went out the room again. He went away. And I said the next day, yeah, he's fine to join. But that was exceptional. Okay. That was exceptional. I told him what might happen. I said, don't be afraid. Just lie still, just whatever. But I've had someone else today who's pulled out. They said that they couldn't cope with that. So,
well, some people can't. Listen, Gordon, I'm going to wrap it up there if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Would you like to mention your group again, please?
Yeah, on the Facebook, the Xanue UK forum. Xanue is spelled Xanue, but pronounced as Xanue with a J. Xanue XU forum. You've got to be a kind person with a warm heart and open mind. You've got to really have good Christian beliefs. You've got to be nice and no abuse to people. Everybody in our group has been assessed by the Xanue, and when they've assessed somebody at night and looked at them, sometimes they've said they're not suitable. So that's fine. So if you join, everybody in our group is like-minded. So if you join, and we say you can join, don't be scared about speaking out and saying your experience or asking questions or whatever, because they're all like you. A lot of people have started out like you. A lot of people have, like 2 years ago, joined, nothing's happening, no experience, no whatever. And there's a lady in Alicante in Spain who's just suddenly camped out last weekend with her husband and the family, and they've had connection with them then. And that's after a year, I think a year and a half, they've been in a group and had nothing. Yeah. Suddenly the Zanue decided to contact them. So, but it can be, it can be, it can take a while, or it can be quick, but everybody follows their own journey. And that's something
I agree. I joined your group, and I'm still on that journey. Gordon. And but I am open-minded. I know I'm a good person. I'm CAV, and that's the main thing. I agree with you. You have to be open-minded, open-hearted, and just go, not expecting anything, but just go with an open mind and a good heart, really. And I'm learning. Gordon, though, I'm learning all the while, and I like to take bits and pieces from every group, not just a Zanue group, from every group, and piece together your own path. You have to piece together your own path. So, listen, Gordon, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And if anyone's got any questions, please leave comments below, and approach Gordon on the Zanue UK forum. He won't be afraid to actually reply to you, I'm sure. He's a nice guy.
Message me, just send me on Messenger. I'm always on my phone. Message me on Messenger and just ask queries, whatever. That's fine.
Okay, thank you, Gordon. I appreciate that. And from me, I shall say goodbye. And everybody, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Bye bye. Goodbye.